Hello everyone, welcome back. Good evening. It is Monday and we have Bitcoin kind of coming down a little bit from after reaching one of our resistance targets that we had planned. We've got a lot to talk about today, so we'll go ahead and get into it, of course. Things to talk about. Trump is in Japan at the moment. Some news on American Bitcoin, Grokipedia, new Wikipedia page by Elon Musk using Grok, and a lot of ETF approvals, which should be bullish for some altcoins. We'll be analyzing all of that in tonight's stream, so hope you guys are ready. Bitcoin's price is 114,053. We were just below that seconds ago. I was making the thumbnail and put 113,000, whatever. We hit a high. This happened during midnight. For whatever reason, we hit a high of 116,344 on Bitcoin. I had the resistance marked at 116,242 from pivot levels. So clear bounce right over there, and you know, it's likely people just taking profits, of course. I was a little bit early to selling my Bitcoin off at around whatever this was, 113,656. And it's fine. I still took my profits, and we were basically around that area, $400 off. It's not a big deal. So where is it going towards next? We have an obvious support at 111,000. We'll round it down to 111,500. Where we could see, you know, Bitcoin kind of consolidating within this range. I don't think we're going to be here for the whole week. That's an exaggeration. But, you know, something like this. And it is supposed to be a very volatile week, right? We're getting some ETFs approved. We're getting the Fed rate cuts. We're getting a potential deal with China. Trump is just, you know, in Asia at this time, and a lot of earnings as well coming for major companies, which that'll be pushed more towards the end of the week, right? So expect more. What? I have like throat pain or something. Hold on, I need water. All right. Great, no big change to my voice. All right. So, yeah, big earnings for companies tonight. I'm dying out here. All right, cool. The super trend that we have for Bitcoin invalidates at 110,000. So, worst case scenario is we drop to that point. I don't think we will, but, you know, your two support levels, 111,500, then 110,000. Which they're not too far apart when it comes to Bitcoin, right? We are where previous resistance was. We're now kind of trying to use it as a support at 114,000. There's something in my throat. I don't know what it is. All right. And yeah. My positions are still here. I haven't really talked much about World Liberty Finance. It hasn't really been moving. Right? Kind of. It was kind of in the green. I could have, you know, just exited the position, but I'll stay in it to see what happens, right? We were overbought while the price was at my entry. So obviously I'm not going to be touching that for World Liberty Finance. What was on the rise today was Trump's meme coin for whatever reason. Up 10% today. Well, even higher than that it was, hitting, you know, we were averaging around $6, and we hit a high of $8 today, which in total, from 6 to 8, that would have been almost a 30% increase. We have already, you know, some profits already being taken down there. Severely overbought. 92 RSI, whenever you ever seen that, huh? Yeah, that's pretty good. It's cold weather. I'm pretty sure it's cold weather. This is affecting my voice, my throat, I don't know. my chest. So anyway, I'll try to push through with it. $6.87 on Trump meme coin if you care at all. I don't. Broke through all these resistances, which is just insane. Which means that no, this was an unexpected move from Trump meme coin. It just happened. So there you go. I do want to know, is there any specific reason? I don't think so. There's nothing like severely controversial that Trump talked about. Where is the Trump meme coin? Surely it's more popular than Pudgy Penguins. I am not seeing it. Do I have to look it up? Here it is. Oh, it's not even as popular as Pudgy Penguins. That is crazy. Treasury adoption, corporate treasury adoption. Newsmax, a pro-Trump media company, announced plans to allocate up to $5 million to Trump meme coin and Bitcoin as part of its DAT, digital asset treasury strategy. Interesting. So the first New York listed stock exchange firm to hold Trump meme coin. That's the reason for this rise. Unprecedented, like I said. Nobody would have expected a serious company to buy into a meme coin, especially revolving around the most powerful man ever, Donald Trump. So yeah. ETHZilla dumps $40 million in holdings. Apparently, Ethereum is on its way down right now. 4,086. We hit a high in total of 4,252. Also, one of the resistance levels that we saw over here, meaning that I probably took profit in an appropriate zone. I think it was 4,180 if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't want to show me, but it was around that. 4,160 or 180. So yeah, we're on the way down right now for it. Your support for Ethereum is obviously the 4,000 and will remain in an uptrend as long as we remain above 3,900. So it can dip below 4,000. It's been oscillating up and down around this level, right? Above 4,000, below 4,000. So don't be surprised if we do break this one. Fear not, as long as we do stay above the 3,900 level on Ethereum. Moving on to Hyperliquid, it managed to stay lateralizing at the top over here. We hit a high of 49.36. I'm pretty sure I did mention, $50 would be a psychological level that we would approach first, right? Which we're on our way there. But we are, like I said, averaging out our prices around these levels, basically at the top, which is fine. 47.19 is the current price of Hyperliquid, and we'll stay in an uptrend as long as we remain above 40. So that should be good. Pivot is the support at 43.45. That hasn't changed. Obviously, for the whole week it won't change, which means that we could see Hyperliquid just trapped in this area for a while until we get a good catalyst that'll boost us above $50. And if it does, $50, never mind. We have broken above $50. We came as close to maybe 60 over here. I'm pretty sure this is the all-time high, right? 59.47. Let me go to Hype. Stop it. I did not click buy. All-time high. Yeah, it's 49.21. Wait, that's not right. Oh, give me... why not all-time? Oh, I'm just blind. It's all over here. Yeah, 59.39. Okay. These numbers, man, they're confusing me. But yeah. So obviously meaning 60 would be the next super important resistance for Hyperliquid, but that's far out of the question right now. But who knows? Maybe Hyperliquid does just have its impulse on its way up. Genuinely good project. I do plan on re-entering if we do approach the 40 zone. But for now, I'm imagining Hyperliquid to be encapsulated in here for a while. So we'll see how it performs. Solana at $200.46. It finally broke above the 200 mark, right? We covered that yesterday. We hit a high in total of $205.24. And then we retraced a little bit. Our low is 197.26. Similar to what we're seeing with Ethereum is what I would put this at. Because Ethereum's important line is the 4,000, we might see price range slightly above, slightly below the 4,000 in Ethereum's case. And for Solana, it's going to be the $200, right? Slightly above and below the $200. Your support for Solana, if we do go below the 200, it's at 192, and the resistance would be the local top over here, 206. You could average this out as a resistance for Solana. I would have expected Solana to be pumping much higher, especially with the news that we have for it, which we will be discussing when we get to that section. So, bit underwhelming. Down 1% today. Boring. Moving on. BitTensor. SpaceX success drives BitTensor token to fresh heights. What does BitTensor have to do with SpaceX? I did not even know about this. Tao, where are you? I'm testing my knowledge here. I don't know which position BitTensor is in. Surely it's in the 20s. Here. 29. Why is it down today? Okay. Profit taking, spot selling, and broader crypto market weakness. That is a lie. What does it have to do? What is the latest news on BitTensor? Institutional accumulation. Tau Synergies increased its BitTensor holdings. Where is the SpaceX? Unless this is a huge lie. It's all just AI lying to us. An AI project too, by the way. Alright, I'm clicking on this. Hold on. What's the news on BitTensor and SpaceX? Because it literally showed that in the preview over here, so you better give me something good. SpaceX, advancing the frontier of space technology. Don't go too long, please. Are you just giving me a summary of what SpaceX is? 10,000 Starlink satellites have been launched, okay, since 2019. I think we all know that and do not care. BitTensor, decentralized AI gaining momentum. No direct news about BitTensor appears in provided search results. Is important to understand. So what was... Okay, you know what? Waste of my time. Get out of here. Forget AI. Plasma is on the way down here. Interesting. Might be due for an entry pretty soon. Although, how low can we go? 29? That would make it a new low, ignoring the liquidation event, right? So 30? 30 potential entry. I think that's too low, though. There's got to be something in between here that I'm just missing completely. And I don't know what that would be. There's no historical data for like how low plasma is supposed to go. Other than, of course, the local bottom at 33. I think that would be the most appropriate level, to be honest. I'll be looking at this 33 for a potential entry on plasma. Last time I bought over here was at 35, which would have been... Why did I buy at 35? Would have been a pivot level or something. And, I mean, we currently do see this support at 34.83 with plasma. Trying to survive over here. I don't know, maybe this was the bottom and, you know, we just continue higher. It's, technically speaking, not supposed to continue doing that because we are in a downtrend. We have not flipped that yet. We do have to break above 41. Plasma can do it. Just got to be cautious of where you're entering, I guess. Because it can't continue lower given this scenario. So, you know, prepare potential entries maybe over here. Should I do it? I'll DCA a little bit. I'll do 2 entries, 3 entries. Small entry here, big entry down here at 29. Actually, no, I will not invest in plasma anymore. Moving on. SUI technically is about to break the downtrend. I mean, we wicked above the super trend over here at 270. I mentioned would be our resistance, and indeed we did hit that. Not necessarily overbought just yet. So 277 approximately would be where we would be considered overbought on SUI. We hit a high of 271 and we have come back down from there. Current price is 259 on SUI. I did the comparison yesterday with XRP, but that's going to be a long-term thing. We'll check in the prices of XRP versus SUI in a couple of weeks. I said, I know I said long-term, but okay, we'll give it a couple of weeks just to see how they perform. I'm talking for like the peak of the cycle, which I'm expecting to happen by November. We'll see what happens. Support immediately is there at 255 for SUI. I stand by the 270 resistance. That's still going to be there. And like I said, I know we wicked above this, but the candle has to close above 270 in order for, the super trend to be fully flipped. So what this means is that we are technically still in a downtrend on SUI. And I will just simply adjust it like that. So it's likely we'll approach 255. Might not hit it exactly, but a bounce is pretty evident to maybe happen like this for another attempt to approach the 270 resistance over here, unless super trend kind of comes down a little bit, although that's pretty unlikely in my opinion. I feel like this is the more probable scenario, right? A bounce to here, and then we break out of this area, and then we'll be overbought by the time we hit this level over here. So that's probably where I'll be taking a small profit on SUI. Nothing yet though, we'll leave it there. RSI is at 53, so I'm not touching anything in terms for the position. Would I add to the position? It's going to be difficult to do so. I would need SUI below, of course, the 247. I don't want to buy above it, and I've learned my lesson from buying above. Although at the end of the day, nothing mattered because everything got liquidated. But when, things are normal and not getting liquidated, that still messes with the analysis that I do, and where I try to put my entries, how I try to position the entries, how much volume, risk management, all that kind of stuff, right? It just messes it up. So I rather not touch a position if it's like on already up, right? I'd only add more to the positions if they start coming down. Chainlink, it's got a very healthy uptrend. Support is at 17, and that is where my entry is as well. Immediate support, of course, is our current low that we just hit, 1806. And I don't know. I'm hearing that government shutdown might hopefully end soon, but nothing's confirmed yet. Government shutdown ending would be beneficial for Chainlink, and maybe if it gets an ETF as well. But by the time government shutdown ends, yeah, ETFs will be out. So 1820 is the current price, and we're headed for 1943 as the resistance on Chainlink. And as I mentioned, the uptrend, it's very healthy at this time. Would not surprise me to see super trend continue rising up a little bit. That's an exaggeration, but something like that. As of right now, if we do continue dropping, do not panic. 17 should be a safe haven. Moving on. Aptos down 4%. I took profit appropriately here. Good. Finally, I did something right with my life. How much did I take profit for? Where? Go to USDC. Aptos 360. We hit a high of 364. And this was afterwards, right? Overnight. That's a win in my books. Took profits appropriately. Aptos is on the way down. So now I could prepare for another potential entry, which I'd be looking at the 320s for sure. Maybe 320 if I average out these two levels right over here. Still like Aptos, still think is a genuinely good project, so we'll see. 343 is the current price. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Tuesday, what's going to happen Tuesday? Nothing much, so we shouldn't expect too much volatility on Tuesday. Arguably, Wednesday, we should not expect much volatility either, because we already know what's going to happen, and I'm pretty sure traders are already pricing in the rate cuts, although of course you can argue they have not gone into effect yet, and people do want that additional confirmation. You can make a case for, yeah, there could be some volatility on on Wednesday. Of course, what matters the most is not the rate cuts, but what Jerome Powell will talk about in the meeting that follows the rate cuts, for what's going to come afterwards in the future. What is his comments on this government shutdown? What are we going to get the third rate cut that we were all expecting in December? All that will be addressed in the press meeting or whatever it is, the announcements that he makes afterwards, you know. So sure, I think I'll change my argument here. Wednesday could be volatile depending on what Jerome Powell says. If he reinforces our beliefs and thinks that and is dovish in the meeting, right? Then markets will continue to rise, right? Will go up as normal. But if he starts saying stuff like, oh, well, I don't know we're going to see what the data says, and if it's bad, then there will likely not be any rate cuts. I don't think he's going to say something like that, though. It's weird. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not him, so, you know. BitTensor, I'm noticing, is just 2% up. Weird. Oh, also for BitTensor, where do I plan to enter? I think I gave the idea of maybe around 350. Might be too low. We'll see. I slapped my phone and now it's not charging. Okay, there we go. Okay, great. So that's all I have for technical analysis. Moving on, let's go into our news section. So, as I mentioned, Donald Trump is in Japan meeting with the new Prime Minister Takaichi. They talked about one of the previous prime ministers of Japan who was assassinated. Trump said that Shinzo Abe was a great friend of mine. He spoke so well of you, of Takaichi, so they kind of know each other. Long before we met, and I'm not surprised to see that you are now the prime minister, and he would be happy to know that, and I congratulate you on behalf of the United States. So just good stuff to say overall. Trump tells the Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi that he has always had a great love of Japan. Anything I can do to help Japan, we will be there. We are an ally at the strongest level. You guys remember Pearl Harbor? No, I'm kidding. President Donald Trump said that he could serve a third term in 2028. This is interesting. By first running as a vice president and then assuming office if the sitting president were to step down. That's the loophole to Trump having a third term. This whole talk about Trump is going to run for a third term. That's the loophole. And it could happen. It would be funny for that to happen, although I don't think it should. And Trump says himself that he does not really plan on doing it. I'd be allowed to do it, Trump said, but I wouldn't do that. I think it's too cute, is what he said. This was after he, or en route to Japan is what it says, before the meeting took effect. Interesting. So, yeah, good stuff. Trump says that he may announce a new Fed chair by the end of this year. He told reporters he's considering replacing Jerome Powell, whose term will end in May 2026. Shortlist repeatedly includes Kevin Hassett, Kevin Warsh, two Kevins, and Christopher Waller. Is this the same Fed governor? Hold on, that is currently on there. Yeah, he is. Okay. He is usually pretty pro Bitcoin on the little announcements that he gives. Is this the White House economic advisor, Kevin Hassett? National Economic Council of the United States. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, these are good people. I don't know who Kevin Warsh is. Former member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Okay, so he was there before. In the Fed. I'm assuming Trump knows what he's doing and will appoint someone that is pro rate cuts. Obviously, that's what he wants. He does not like Jerome Powell because Jerome Powell will not cut the rates. He is doing it now, but people think, oh, it's not enough. Other people are like, well, the government should not have any influence on what the Fed decides, right? Who knows at this point? I'm not them, so let them do their thing. Representative Ro Khanna is introducing legislation to ban the president, his family, members of Congress, and all elected officials from trading crypto or stocks. Federal fair enough. There is insider trading. I'm pretty sure nobody can deny that on some level. But just outright banning them, I don't know. It's going to tie into the Stock Act that they are also trying to pass to ban members of Congress from trading stocks after we see what happens with, I don't know, somebody like Nancy Pelosi or among other notable Congress women who trade stocks is Marjorie Taylor Greene and that Florida woman, I forget her name, but she's got like the curly blonde hair. I'm sure there's other members of Congress. I don't know their names much. I'm not too much invested in all that, but, you know, every once in a while, you know, Quiver Quantitative will post something about it. Before I talk about this, speaking of, you know, banning the president and his family and members of Congress and all elected officials. Oh, because it's just basically a legislation to ban everyone from trading crypto or stocks. Okay, pal, that's not going to happen. But Eric Trump, the son of Donald Trump, if you don't know, he is founder of a company called American Bitcoin, ABTC. It is publicly listed on the stock exchange, like a genuine company, who plans to just purchase Bitcoin, is from what I understand. It's basically like another MicroStrategy, American Bitcoin Corp. And why do we have this much historical data on this? I'm pretty sure it was a different company, and then they just rebranded to this. They also have a split going on over here, which caused a lot of volatility. Crazy. Spiked up to $14. It's at $6 right now. Had a low of $4. Considered overbought right now. Interesting. But yeah. If you don't know, American Bitcoin, they acquired 1,414 Bitcoins, which brings the total treasury to 3,865 Bitcoins is how much they have. The company now reports Satoshis per share, instead of earnings per share, that's funny, of 418, which is up 52% since September 1st. Executive Chairman Asher Janut says that by producing Bitcoin directly, we can reduce our average cost per Bitcoin to drive a cost advantage over vehicles that buy exclusively on the open market. It's also true that they integrated mining operations with strategic purchases to build its reserve. So yeah, it's technically MicroStrategy, but with mining included as well. And Eric Trump says, we're just getting warmed up, incredibly excited about ABTC and what we are building. I'm excited too. And he was also talking about, you know, the history of it. First of all, American Bitcoin, yeah, we know they acquired 1,414. Look at that Bitcoin signal by bringing its total holdings to 3,865. He talks about on March 31st, ABTC was formed. 0 Bitcoin in its treasury. Is that real? March? Wait, which day did he say? Yeah, March 31st, so basically April 1. I'm blind. Yeah, right over here. Would have been over here, I don't know. It was formed and then it spiked up to $14 over there for whatever reason. September 3rd, 5 months and 3 days later, they went public on the NASDAQ as ABTC. Okay, so September 3rd is when they went public, which would be over here. This volatility spike that also shot up to $14 and explains the split that happened over here at September 3rd. That's what I remember. Today, just 1 month, 21 days later from their public debut, they now have 3,865 Bitcoin. 6 months and 24 days later, we are 26th largest public Bitcoin treasury company, passing our competitors daily. You will not find a harder working or more determined group in the space, and we're just getting going. Cool. Good to see. All right, talking about this now. The whole issue with Canada and US. Trump imposed an additional 10% tariff because of an ad that was released by the Ontario government. Basically with edits on what Ronald Reagan, former president of the United States, talked about in terms of tariffs, trying to make it seem, you know, bad for Trump and I guess good for the liberals. I don't know what's going on here, but Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, was who is the person that is responsible for the ad getting released. He's throwing Mark Carney, so the prime minister, under the bus by saying that he showed the prime minister the Reagan ads and Mark Carney was the one who approved them. All right, so he's just dodging the blame at this point. Cool, good to know. Grokipedia has been released. It's built by Elon Musk as a competitor to Wikipedia, so you can basically just search up anything and you'll get like an encyclopedia of information, right, on that subject. Obviously, as the name suggests, with Grok AI intelligence. Wow, my English is great today. AI intelligence included in the whole search, right? With articles and everything, and it's just getting started. This is interesting how Quiver Quantitative discovered this like before any official announcement was put out, because there was no official confirmation, but it appears to be live at grokipedia.com. Hold on. Please don't ask for personal information. Log in. I'm assuming log in with Twitter. And then we search up anything here. Okay, well, what do we look up? I'll look up Bitcoin. Nice. History of Bitcoin, El Salvador, Bitcoin Cash. Just give me a general Bitcoin article. And this is what it looks like. Same format is what I'm seeing as like Wikipedia. Default dark theme is already a win. History. Okay. Oh, there's a huge article on it all. And the references are here as well. Similar to... Yeah, what are they going to do in schools now? Do you guys remember back in school, like, the teacher was like, nobody's allowed to use Wikipedia. Okay. It's not a valid source of information. Okay. Well, now what? We all got AI, and that is the source of information. What are you going to do about it? And also, the way to, like, cheat that system, pro tip if you are in school in 2015, yeah, pro tip would be to just go to the references section and take the, you know, cite your works, do the works cited, whatever, from the links over here based on whichever phrase you're looking at, right? I'm pretty sure everybody knows that, but yeah. Interesting. So you got a lot of information there. And yeah, it's an official confirmation now. Elon Musk has posted that Grokipedia.com version 0.1 is now live. So it's just getting started, 0.1. But he's saying that version 1.0 will be 10 times better. But even at 0.1, it's already better than Wikipedia in his opinion. Once again, yeah, sure, it's CEO just pushing his own product. But we'll see. I do think it's... I mean, I don't use Wikipedia that much. I don't do research like that. But... I don't know. What is really the point of this? I mean, if I just asked Grok itself, like, give me a summary about Bitcoin, or if I actually want to find a specific topic about it, just ask AI, right? It's basically the same thing. But I mean, if you're doing research for maybe like a school project, I just use Bitcoin as an example, but maybe it's like, I don't know, something historical that you want to look up. You could probably find a valid article provided by Grokipedia with the references and all that stuff there as well. Although, yeah, a normal AI answer will also give you some references if you ask for it, but, you know. Cool, whatever. We'll see where it goes. All right, moving on. MicroStrategy. Talked about them a bit. They purchased 390 Bitcoins. That is nothing. $43 million. You can do better than that, Michael Saylor. They purchased at an average price of 111,000. They did the thing, didn't they? Yeah, they did. I told you guys yesterday I covered that, you know, the orange dot plot thing, and I'm like, I bet Michael Saylor did not buy at 107. He probably bought like as soon as Bitcoin started rising, which I kind of did over here, 111,000. You know what? We'll give him a pass. He bought over here. Sure. They now have 640,000 Bitcoins. That's not bad at all. But it's a bit sad to see that the purchasers are becoming less and less every time. Seems like they're running out of money. And AIXBT already tells us that MicroStrategy cut Bitcoin purchases 99.6% from 55,000 Bitcoins per week to roughly 200. Bitcoins per week. Like, exactly what happened over here? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's pathetic. I know it's millions of dollars and that's not chump change, but he used to be buying that amount of Bitcoin per week. Or not exactly the 55,000 because, you know, he'd probably have well over a million. I think it's reasonable. He has 640,000 currently. Sure. At some point, that was the case. 55,000 Bitcoin per week. MicroStrategy's stock premium to NAV compressed from 3.4x to 1.48x, making share issue dilutive. They can't raise capital at these levels. Interesting. $7 billion monthly demand just vanished, and Bitcoin is still at 123,000 somehow. What are you talking about? But anyway, I guess that explains. They're running out of money, and their stock is not performing well, to be honest. MSTR. Yeah, it's like basically down here. Good area of accumulation, though, in my opinion. Just saying. Mount Gox. Oh, no. The forbidden exchange. They've delayed creditor repayments by another year. Now due October 2026. How do you just do that? You delay repayments to your creditor? Why can't I do that with, like, my loans or my line of credit, my credit card, whatever? The exchange still holds 34,689 Bitcoin awaiting distribution. If you're not aware about what Mt. Gox is, they were one of the first crypto exchanges where you could buy Bitcoin, of course, and they got hacked, and all that money was lost from people. This is basically what happened with FTX, but it was like a genuine reason why people lost their money. Like, they got hacked, right? The whole exchange got hacked. But they've recovered it, and they have the money, and of course, this is the people's Bitcoin, and they've got to refund them eventually. Why don't they just refund them now? I guess, I don't know, they have to like track the people down, because it was many years, almost a decade ago, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been a while, and just now they're still planning on repaying people. It's like, okay. Anyways, this is the big ETF news that we have. Canary has filed Form 8A registrations for Litecoin, Hedera ETFs, which will join Bitwise's recent Solana filing. It's not yet approved, but the filings indicate active preparations for potential launches this week. That's pretty big. And that's confirmed, actually. The first ever Hedera ETF, it will go live tomorrow. This isn't just another listing, it's the moment institutional money gets a doorway into Hedera. Sure. The narrative shifting from crypto hype to real utility plus real adoption. Hedera is leading the charge. Who is it with? Do we know? So it seems like the SEC is partially working at limited hours or something, because obviously if the SEC was fully closed due to the government shutdown, nothing would have been approved, and it seemed like that was the case for the whole time. But I don't know, it seems like they are still kicking around there. Because, you know, we're getting a Hedera ETF tomorrow, and we're also getting Solana ETF tomorrow. The first ever SEC okay, not the first ever. Okay, so what is Rex Osprey if they're not getting approved by the SEC to release their ETFs? They have a XRP ETF, Dogecoin, and Solana ETF with staking, by the way. So what gives? But anyways, this one is coming from Bitwise Solana ETF. Obviously a larger company than Rex Osprey. New York Stock Exchange ARCA has certified the listing and registration of the Bitwise Solana staking ETF. Okay, so it will also include staking. That's good. Good for Solana. And by the way, we are not even moving a penny on the news, which is odd. But yeah, it's finally here. The first SEC approved Solana ETF. BSOL will be the ticker, and it's from Bitwise Invest. Solana now with Wall Street Incorporated. Does it exist? What did I say the ticker was? BSOL. I hate this keyboard. It exists. No, it does not exist. Bitwise Solana ETF. Yeah, it does exist. No data here. It'll go live tomorrow, okay? That's all. And just in case you didn't know, these are how many ETFs are set for every asset, which is interesting. Solana has more ETF filings than any other crypto since 2024, with a total of 23 ETF filings, which means that institutions really want some of that Solana. It's right up there with Bitcoin. Bitcoin also has 23 ETF filings, and Solana is there too. So they're tied for first place. Third or second place, whatever you want to call it. XRP with 20 filings, Ethereum with 16 filings. Basket basically just means like a whole group of ETFs. I mean, a whole group of cryptocurrencies in an ETF. There's 10 of those. There are 5 Litecoin ETFs, 4 Avalanche, 4 Dogecoin, 3 Sei ETFs, 3 Hedera ETFs, 3 Sui ETFs, Binance, Cardano 3, and then 2 for Near Protocol, Chainlink, Trump, Injective, Tron, Bitcoin and Ethereum together, Bonk, and Hyperliquid. We got to see some of these over here. Would be beneficial for us, huh? Also, come on. Why Hedera? Why not Sui? Why not Sui ETF? That upsets me. Hedera is nice, but yeah. I think I do have Hedera, but it's just like really expensively purchased. Unless it got liquidated. I don't remember. It's on another account, so we'll see. Yes, I know I invest in futures in the long term, and I should not do that. You shouldn't do that either. Binance says that the 33rd quarterly Binance token burn has completed directly on BNB Smart Chain. 1.44 million BNB has been burned. They're still burning tokens. And how much is that in USD? Roughly $1.67 billion. Interesting. Cool. Aster, which is a disaster. Am I right? Fellows, what are we doing with Aster anymore? Down 7% today. Yeah, y'all got rug pulled. Y'all got rug pulled. Oh well. $1, I guess, support for Aster if you care. What are we at? $1.06. Oh boy. Apparently they're doing $2 million in daily fees, which flips Hyperliquid's 24-hour revenue yesterday. It's trading at 2.7 billion market cap on $60 million monthly revenue. Hyperliquid at 10.5 billion on lower fee density. It's 40 days old and the market already buried it with a 53% drawdown in the price. Either the fees are fake or this is the most mispriced protocol in crypto. Yeah, so like which one is it? I'm still going for the fake fees kind of deal. You know, part of the DeFi Llama delisting. Remember that whole drama? But they reinstated them for now. But I don't know. I'm not sure if I will trust Binance or Aster. I'm leaving those to the side. They can perform well. They can, you know, hit all-time highs or make price spikes. Do whatever you want. I'll just stick with, you know, instead of Binance, I'll buy... Okay, instead of Aster, I'll buy Hyperliquid. Instead of Binance, I'll buy... What do I buy instead of Binance? It's a token of an exchange. I don't know, Kronos? That's probably a terrible comparison. But, you know, I mean, Kronos has got more going on for it, in my opinion. They got good partnerships with Trump, although they are really down right now. Kronos, Crypto.com's token. But still, you know, I have my account open with them. Oh boy, they dropped to 6 cents on that day. That's crazy. I didn't even notice. But I've already taken my profits on Kronos. Had a lot on spot from years of accumulation since 2021. Yeah, no longer. All I have with them is the Visa card, which I'm still trying to get rid of those funds, and I don't know what to spend my money on. I should probably, I don't know, go out and buy food or take a girl out on a date. Like that ever happens. MetaMask registers domain for token claims, hinting its long-awaited airdrop may be near. Finally, MetaMask. We'll see though. I also, don't plan on getting airdrops from MetaMask. Like I said, I'm not too well informed with how airdrops, how effective they are. The way I see airdrops is like a roadblock, in my opinion, because I like to invest in something that does come out. MetaMask token is coming out. Let me go back to this. MetaMask token comes out. I want to buy it, but then, oh no, on this day, scheduled airdrops will be released. And what are people going to do with those airdrops? It floods the market with more supply, and it applies sell pressure because people want to take profits from the airdrops that they just received, which means that the prices will just drop. And it's like, okay, so why am I going to buy this at ICO? There's no point. And will the hype even live up to long-term growth? Maybe. I don't know. This is a wallet. Why do we need a token for a wallet? They're talking about releasing derivatives, but I mean, we already have Hyperliquid, so what's the point? Are they better than that? I doubt it. We'll see, though. Qualcomm has unveiled the AI 200. It's a new AI chip designed to compete with NVIDIA in the data center market. The chip is set to begin shipping next year. NVIDIA's got some competition, and Qualcomm, great company, by the way, skyrocketed on this news. Look at that. 205 is the high that we hit. That is an all-time high? No, it's not. 224 was the all-time high. But we still, look at this though. Pretty cool. I don't know, stock market, sometimes it gives some pleasant surprises when things are well. But I think a lot of stuff are very overvalued at this time. I don't want to like go all in right now on stock market. Because, you know, I've seen days where it's crashed pretty bad, so I want to take advantage of that, and I don't want to FOMO in, so we'll leave it there. Great, moving on. U.S. Department of Energy announces a $1 billion partnership with AMD to build 2 supercomputers. Hopefully it's not quantum computing. It's making me nervous. AMD. Did they rise at all? I mean, they've been on the rise. Profit-taking area. I think I purchased AMD in the Canadian version. I talked about this one. I sold it like before that mooned over here. I bought this dip over here, or averaged out to my price to be 28.85 in Canadian dollar. Canadian hedge. It rose up to here. I sold it there, and then it skyrocketed over here, and we're basically... Is this all-time highs? Yeah, it's all-time highs for AMD. Right? Yeah, probably. Yep, all-time highs for advanced micro devices. All right. Cool. Google is also partnering with NextEra Energy to restart Iowa nuclear plant. This nuclear plant in Iowa I did not even know about, but cool. Why does Google need to partner with NextEra Energy for that? For energy? NextEra Energy's this ticker. Yeah, they're on the rise with the Google partnership, and is Google benefiting at all? Yep, they're also at a pretty high level. Is this all-time high as well? Why is everything at all-time high? Why is crypto so bad? I'm missing out. That's FOMO. You should not FOMO into stock markets. Anyway, moving on. Tesla announcement. I'm not reading all this, but it's basically a vote for, do you guys want to retain Elon Musk as Tesla's CEO and motivate him to drive Tesla to become, not to drive a Tesla, but to try to drive Tesla the company to become the leading provider of autonomous solutions and most valuable company in the world? There's a vote for that or something. I don't know. I'm neutral on this. I don't care if Elon Musk is... I'm pretty sure it would be better if Elon Musk is the head of Tesla, but it's not that beneficial in some cases because... Let me pull this back up here. Remember when... I mean, it goes both ways, honestly. It's a double-edged sword. There's only one... I think, right? There's only one publicly traded company that reflects sentiment on Elon Musk, right? When Elon Musk was with Donald Trump in the election and they won, Tesla was skyrocketing and making all-time highs, right? But then things made a turn. They had a fight. Before they had the fight, you know, people were criticizing Elon Musk in the US government. They started attacking Tesla dealerships to affect Elon Musk personally. And I've talked about it before. They've made Tesla stock price crash because of, you know, some way of pushback against Elon Musk and what he's doing in the government, with Doge specifically, which I never really understood why. Like, he's helping save money, but whatever, you do you. And I mean, ultimately he left, and ever since he left the government, Tesla has been, just doing fine, because after that, Elon Musk kind of became irrelevant after leaving the government. There was talks about him trying to start another political party, but nothing came of that, is what it seems. Seems like he's just going to fully back JD Vance or something. But yeah, he still remains the face of Tesla, and I think as long as he doesn't get involved in the government, he should be fine as the CEO of Tesla. Right? JP Morgan is a big bank. JP Morgan Chase. They've officially opened a $3 billion headquarter in New York City. Wow, we're doxing their address. And it's the tallest all-electric skyscraper per Bloomberg. Nice. Of course, big banks making big moves with big money. All right, cool. That is the last bit of news I had to cover for today. It's getting late, so I'll leave you guys to go to bed. Thanks so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow. We will be discussing whatever happens tomorrow. Not much is expected, so don't expect too much. But Wednesday should be an important day. Wednesday, Thursday, of course, Trump, Xi Jinping, and then Friday, I don't know. In between all that, even up until Friday, we'll have important earnings for companies. So, yeah, we'll see how stock market reacts to it all, how Wall Street reacts, of course. And if all goes bad, November 1st tariffs will go in effect, talking about China and US. November 1st, that'll be Saturday, and crypto will suffer because nothing else is open on a Saturday except for your Bitcoins. So that'll be all. And if it does drop, I kind of hope it does. I would love to purchase more because right now I'm very underexposed. I need to expose myself more if I want to regain what I lost. So yeah, that is that. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a great rest of your evening.